We're looking at a submission from underscore justice. Does that mean you justice for underscores? Or you are an underscore who anyway, never mind. From justice. Um, and Quad feels pretty locked in. Getting vibration in the FPV camera that doesn't show up in the HD footage. That would drive me crazy. I think I said I think I said in a text post that it's usually the other way around in my experience, that the FPV camera is standard definition, and also you're so busy flying that you're not like picking apart the video while you're actually flying. Whereas when you're watching it in the playback, the high def camera often will show a little bit of vibration that you didn't notice while you were flying. So it's kind of weird. Then again, if your high def camera is isolation mounted, if it's on bobbins, but your FPV camera isn't, then that could explain it. If both your FPV camera and your high def camera are hard mounted, then that's pretty weird, and I don't know what to tell you about that. We'll take a look. I will say I looked at your flight video. I'm not going to play a bunch of it because anybody who wants to watch it can, of course, download it and watch it. Your flight video looks really good. You have a really good flying copter. I am curious, you got the 2206 2100 kV motors with 20 amp ESCs. I'm guessing you're running 6-inch props, 60, 60, 45. I'm not sure, but I think with 2100 kV, and it also doesn't say if you're on 4S, but from looking at your flight, my hunch is you're on 4S. Oh wait, your log will tell me. Yeah, you're on 4S. Um, so I'd just be curious about that, just because I'm a curious person. It looked like it was flying really good. It didn't look like it had the super nimble that I've seen sometimes, which is why I wonder if it's 6-inch or 5-inch props. My hunch is that it's 6-inch, and I'm curious if I'm right. Anyway, so let's take a look at your logs. I have your, let's start, I have the traces left over from the last one I did. So let's start by just looking at your gyros as I usually do. And I'm going to zoom all the way out. And your gyros look, to me, this looks a bit noisy. A bit noisy, but not to the point where I would think it was causing you problems. Let's just have a quick look at your settings. Gyro cut of 0, P term cut of 50, D term of 8. Okay, so I'm as I've said in some of my other videos, I'm leaning towards thinking that the instinct to not overfilter D term is wrong. In other words, I'm leaning towards thinking that many people, maybe most people, will get better flight out of lower D term cut hertz than at first maybe you might think, and that we could benefit from just knocking that way down. And so with you got it set at 8, that feels to me like, I mean, there's not a lot of places to go down from there. So that's probably, I think if you like the way it flies, that's not causing your problem. And in fact, it seems unlikely that overfiltering your D term would cause vibration or oscillation. Your gyro cut at 0, this is, and I assume you've got 188 on your gyro LPF. I can never find gyro LPF, so I have to search for it. Yeah, okay. So your gyro traces, I want to, I'll call back to the last one I did from, who was it? Who was it? What was his name? Who is that? So this is an example of somebody running gyro LPF equals 188 and gyro cut hertz of 0 and getting away with it. So these traces are a little noisy, but not too noisy that I look at it and it screams, oh my gosh, you have a problem. So that being said, if you've got vibration and you're running gyro LPF equals 0, I mean, if my first recommendation, of course, is going to be to run some gyro LPF. Like, we all want to be hotshot, F1 drivers with tuned to the edge. I don't need no stinking filters, copters, but we're not. I mean, and that's silly. I don't know. It's not silly. If you want to fly, fly how you want to fly. But if you have a problem with vibration and you're running gyro cut hertz equals 0, then I'm just going to kind of look at you and go, well, And what do you think you should do? Right? What is the gyro filter intended to do? It's intended to filter out vibration. I have vibration in my camera. What should I do? You should turn down the gyro LPF, gyro cut hertz rather, and then see what happens. So yeah, I mean, even if you were to say you're gonna still be a hotshot and run gyro cut hertz equals 150, right? Maybe it would make it better, but I would start with 100. I think that many people will get good results with gyro cut hertz between 100 and around 60 or maybe 50 in an extremely noisy case. The fact that your gyro traces look as clean as they do with gyro cut of 0 means that you have a relatively clean copter and you can get away with less filtering than most, but you probably could stand to have a little more filtering because you're getting vibrations. So try setting it to 100 or 120 or maybe, well, 150 is probably too high, but anything's better than nothing. So start working it down at whatever rate you feel is acceptable and see if the problem goes away. But I would say if you're gonna start working it down, don't waste your time. Like set it to 60. Set gyro cut hertz to 60 and fly. And maybe it'll feel like it won't feel as locked in and you won't like it, but see if the vibration goes away. If you set gyro cut hertz to 60 and the vibration is still there, well, that's clearly not the issue, right? And you put it back to 0 and go search something else. Obviously, we're not going to see that vibration because it is in the FPV camera, not the high def camera, so we won't be able to see it. And it's questionable whether we're going to be able to see it in the gyro. It's not yaw, I don't think. We can see some oscillation in the pitch. Sorry, in the roll. That's not much in the pitch. You say it's constant, right? So the fact that it's constant, that makes it more likely. And I know you've probably checked this, but if it's constant and it's not really related to throttle speed or anything, then maybe it's more likely something like a loose your lens is loose, your camera plate is loose. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you've checked that, but um, I have seen constant oscillations when the ESCs were doing bad things. On mine, I went to BL Heli 14 and I got these constant oscillations that I couldn't get rid of. And it turns out that the active braking was just too much for my silly little Atmel ESCs, and I had to go back to BL Heli 13. You're running the RG20 ESC. If that is an Atmel ESC and you are running BL Heli 14, then you may have the same problem I do. Let me just look real quick because I don't know off the top of my head if that's Atmel or Scilabs. RG20 is Scilabs. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the RG20. Of course. I didn't translate Rotor Geeks to RG. Of course, the RG20 is a great ESC. Okay, strike that. It's not your ESCs. All right, well, there you go. Let's keep looking. We're going to now take a look at, can you tell I don't rehearse these? I just make this up as I go. If I prepared and took notes and rehearsed and then recorded, I'd be spending a half hour on every one of these, and I'm sure you won't blame me for that. Um, what do we see here? Yeah, this looks pretty good. This looks pretty good, honestly. I'm not seeing, I mean, we'll just watch you fly for a minute. So here in just level flight, I'm not seeing a ton of oscillations. There's a normal amount of oscillations. This pitch especially, the P term is right near the line. Very nice. Um, roll some oscillations, but not a lot. Really, actually, very little. Here's a good hard turn. The P term is shockingly well controlled. It's a very nice setup you've got here, whatever you're running. The P term here in this hard turn, notice that you can see these little bumps, right? But it's not flipping out. It's not going bah, 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 bouncing all over the place, right? It's really, I've always said, P term oscillates. That's what it does. This P term is really well controlled and not oscillating very much. And now we're in this hard turn, and it actually reaches 0, close to the 0 line before it turns around a little. This is really nice. Honestly, really nice. Um, yeah, you got a good flying copter here. Well, your video tells the tale. Uh, so let me give you just some random suggestions because I don't see anything in your trace that shouts, that this is a problem. And not being able to see the video from the FPV, I can't really sort of characterize it. Um, this is counterintuitive, but try raising your D term cut hertz. And this is a random thing, but sometimes when I've been tuning, I've turned it down and got more oscillations than when I brought it back up again. And it's really just a shot in the dark. Take it up to 12, maybe, and see what that does if that gets rid of it. Maybe even take it to 15 and see if that gets rid of it. Play with that. It's a little counterintuitive, but there's a point where you've made your D terms soft enough that it's hurting more than it helps. Most people are not going to get there until you're at very low values of D-term cut hertz. But maybe you're there, and maybe that's what's happening. That's the only thing I see and then of course, gyro cut hertz first. Lower the gyro cut hertz to something like 100 or even like I said 60, and then see what happens. See if that gets rid of it. If that doesn't get rid of it, then try increasing your D term and see. I mean, maybe it's again a shot in the dark, but it's possible. Hope that's helpful, and enjoy that copter. It flies really nice. So kudos on that. Happy flying.